my little school called the Wee School. Since we're home, I'm going to call this morning Wee School. And the Wee School, what we're going to do, you can call it a kun, you can call it a dojang, you can call it a dojo. Couple things. Knowing Monday through Friday, you know, when we do Healthy Mind, we go over the certain parts of the mind on the mental side. Well, now we're going to go, I keep getting questions about how to practice and how to develop the other side of the mind into the physical body. So instead of just putting it off and doing it at a different time, I'm going to do it on Saturday mornings. I think this is the best thing for us. I'm only going to do it one Saturday because this is a building process. The things I will teach you, I'm going to be teaching you today of the Wuji. It's also part of the practice of Qigong, meaning life energy. And Qigong is practiced throughout the world and everything. I'm not going to get into the information definition. There's also another thing. I won't be able to really answer any questions as I'm doing it. So if you have any questions for me, please put it in the inbox or the comments, and during the week or later today, I'll answer you. All right, so let's get right into Wuji, right? So one of the things about balance of the life force, right? And then we're working on what the mind was. This balance of the life force. The life force that we have, this is a vessel. So that's the one thing you probably have to get into a concept is a vessel. Yep, this is my teaching stick. Most of you people who grew up in old school dojos or kuns or dojangs know what the stick is. It's called the learning stick. And I still use it to guide, right? So let's get right into Wuji. Wuji, we're forming on the different poses. I'm going to go back there so you can see how I'm doing it and what I'm going to do. So again, those of you coming on, I won't be able to answer any of your questions during the Wuji practice because I'll be over there and I don't have my keyboard. Please put the comments and questions in you're watching, or later I'll talk to you later about what Wuji is, right? So one of the things we're going to go over is the top of the head, our chin, our spine, and our perineum. The perineum is the spot between your rectum and your private parts. It is the middle spot. Those parts are important. Your hips, your knees, your feet, your ankles, and your feet. So in this practice, I'm just going to give you your first lesson of standing in meditation pose. Meditation pose in Wuji is standing still. So let's go over it, what we're going to be doing. So, hope everybody can see my feet. This is good, great. So in Wuji practice, one of the things we have to do is relax. I know in doing this, it is hard for me to tell or you to tell if you're relaxed. The most honest thing you can be is honest with yourself of tension. Because I think that's one of the things that we block ourselves in our physical practice and our mental practice and our spiritual practice, is that we're not honest with the tension we have within our bodies. So we'll go over that. It's tough for me to do in a video, but I'd like to show you anyway. So one of the things about standing in meditation pose is that your feet have to be aligned. You know, I'm about as flat feet as a duck, and that's just from many things I've done in my life. But the one thing you can do is, these are all important. Alignment is important. So if your alignment, there you go, I got a camera that's a little bit off. I think one camera is, anyway, so you have to align your feet. And they have to be straight back, right? And in your feet alignment, and I'll turn to the side this way. And in your feet alignment, your heel cannot be out too far and it cannot be in, okay? The point of alignment is all things. In Wuji, in the life energy practice, everything is aligned. When everything's aligned, you are balanced, okay? So you may not hard to see my knee, but this is a straight knee for me. And this is too bent, right? You can see how I'm bending this knee. If you're straight knee, you're blocking off. Remember, constriction is restriction. Constriction is restriction. If you are constricting muscles, you're restricting life force, okay? So we want life force to flow through us so we're able to balance it within us. Does that make sense? We want life force to flow through us so we can balance within us. So, as I'm standing here, feet this way, I usually start from the feet on up because the feet are most important in all practices. If you're not in alignment with your feet and you're out like this or you're in like this, I mean, I'm a bow-legged person myself, but we can still align our feet, okay? So once you align your feet, that's straight, knee is slightly bent, where you are aligning your hip and your ankle straight down. Now, here's the tough part. It's tough for you to see. The perineum has to go vertically up and down. Now, remember, the perineum is the spot, the space between your rectum and your private parts. It's that space. So, it has to be straight down, right? It has to be straight down. If it's not straight down or if it's pushed out, right? I know some of you are like, what about my big butt? Or what about my this butt or that butt? Your butt has nothing to do with your perineum. Your perineum has more to do with being down. So that now comes into balance of your lower abdominals. Just rotating your hip down. Feet straight, hip, ankle, down to the floor. Perineum is straight. Now we come up to the spine. The spine from here, from the perineum, which is the top of your pelvic, down here, all the way down here to your sacrum, all the way up. So now, yes, we're activating different things called the Kundalini up there. So we're activating these spinal, remember, because the spinal cord is very important. So we're activating here all the way up. The head cannot be tilted this way, right? It cannot be leaned back, right? It has to be flat and straight. Flat and straight, head is like this, right? My fair lady, walking with the book on her head, flat and straight. You'll see my arms will be relaxed, not stiffen up, so they'll be relaxed, and we'll get into the reason why that, because we're going to be holding clouds, waving clouds, but they're going to be just relaxed. The hand forms in Japanese called the koiguchi, right? They're just like an anatomical doll. They're just this way. They're not gripped. They're not holding out, because we have to open up our Chenna center. Our chi centers. Our chi centers. Heart has to be breathing, and then we get into belly, breathing, the type of breathing, what we're doing, and all that later. Remember, this is just peace practice. So let's get in right here. So now I'm going to face this way. Feet are parallel. Check your feet. Slightly bend the knees. Don't overbend, right? Slightly bend. Don't lock. Go into lock mode and slightly bend. Perineum is straight down. Hips. Back. Head not up, not down. Just back. Spine. Straight. Belly in, belly tight. Here you go, right? So once you're here, go put down like my teaching stick here, and once you're here, your life circles in a circle of motion this way, and this way, and this way. You ever seen an atom, picture of an atom, where you're the middle part of the atom, which starts here, and it circles. That's what you call energy circling. So you got circling going this way. So look at a picture of an atom, and as you circle. So now that I'm in a line, and I'm balanced, how do you know when you're balanced? Because I don't hold my body up with muscle. Once I'm balanced, and everything's like balancing the egg on a table, if you ever try that, doing certain parts of the year, or balancing something straight up and down, this is just holding a balance, right? You know, yes, in the studies of Qigong, we use a lot of metaphors in nature, because nature is balance, right? The universe is balance. So in Qigong, and what we want to do is learn how to balance this vessel with what we call the physical body, with our mental self, aligning it with Wuji, with the spiritual self, right? So as you're here and you're relaxed, right? There's breathing, right? So they're breathing, and we'll get into the techniques of breathing another time. This is just going to be short and sweet of how to get into Wuji stance. And once you're in Wuji stance, you'll know when you're balanced is when you start to, because it's, you know, the revolution of the earth, not the evolution, but the revolution of the earth, there's a sway to it. That's why even the most balanced of things, there's a natural sway to it. You don't want to hold any pressure in your body. You want to let it go. So the question I know I often get from students is, how come you just don't fall to the ground? Because once you align the parts of your body, you're not holding yourself up with muscle. It's just holding there, almost like one of those dolls that spring up and down. They just stand there together with its joints on top of each other, like almost like building blocks, like Jenga. So you're just there, you're not holding anything. You're starting to feel the ground, you're starting to feel the relaxation. This is why doing it outside, doing it anywhere is great, but once you find your balance, you'll get into like a little bit of a sway. If you're old enough, you remember the Weeble wobbles. But this is what it is. You have what you call the earth that has a wobble to it. You will also develop a wobble. And once you're really in, you also develop what you call this little circle wobble, right? Don't force it. If you're too tight, remember constriction is restriction. You just want to be able to stand here and get more and more relaxed. A lot of times we say close your eyes because your eyes are the distracting force for you, because we use so much of our sight to do things. So, and then you get into your breathing practice, but this is just Wuji stance. Before we get into the practice, this takes a little bit of a time just to get used to. If you do any type of breathing, you can stand just like this and just do relaxation breath for now until I teach you the other breath. There you go. Just like that. There you go. Balancing this vessel we call the physical body, aligning it with our mental self, and then aligning it with the spiritual self, right? So this is development of that peace practice, the practice. So that's Wuji. Again, we're going to be building up on that. So take your time. Again, have any questions, you have any comments. And then, yes, we're going to get into movement. Because this movement, you can then just move into other movements. So this movement doesn't matter how you move. The movement is not constricting or restricting. It starts to move. It even doesn't matter if you're practicing a certain art. This is to add on to your art. This is for you to develop that internal power, that internal strength, that internal breath, that life energy. Then when you do your katas or your forms, whatever you do if you're a martial arts practitioner, and if you just want to practice peace and meditation, this has nothing to do with any of that. This is just developing that life energy force, right? So as you learn to breathe and the force comes with you, but remember the important parts is balance head, spine straight, perineum up and down, vertically to the ground, hips straight to the knee, straightening down here, going to the ankle, aligning the feet, and balancing out. Don't be this way. Okay, so I can answer this right now. What Dr. Paul, what happens if I can't stand up and I have an injury? Well, sitting down too. You can sit down vertically. You can lay down vertically. If you're that indigent, you are unable to get up at this time for whatever reason, you can lay in the bed, what you call straight. So working on that alignment, that helps that life energy flow right through you. Again, if you have any questions, any comments, you can always reach me at drpaulholisticscience.com. And remember, we're going to do this every Saturday. We're going to do this building blocks of building that life energy force. Because as the triangle goes, this is the other part of the triangle, okay? Get into that philosophy later. Don't want to take up too much of your time. Remember, please, do your practice, do your training, and keep your faith. Stay meditation, stay your prayers. and state your training, because that is important, right? So we developed this so we can live a life instead of having to survive a life. Okay? Thank you so much. Good morning. I wish you all many blessings.